This isn't as usual, this isn't an ordinary event. This is an extraordinary event. So thank you for all being out here on behalf of all of us at Indiana. And I'll talk more about these guys and try to embarrass them in a little bit. Colin Hartman, who's getting ready to be a junior for us at Indiana. And Ryan Burton, who has just been nothing short of phenomenal as a walk-on in our program from Bedford. And my little 2.6 GPA fails in comparison to his 3.3 and his 3.9, all right, that they carry. But it's all about who you surround yourself with, so I feel a little smarter with those guys. But the passion of this area is the only place that I see the passion at a place like Southern Indiana is when you get around the coaches that we have. And certainly when you get around the fan bases, all right, when the games come. But we don't get the games, obviously, all the time. We have 20 home games, and Kevin has his number, and Todd has his number, and Terry has her number, and all the other coaches have those. And the passion comes alive in that. But when you get into an environment like this, and you see how much people care, it's often imitated, never duplicated, and you people are phenomenal. And I think everybody feels that way because that's what we feel when we're around each other as coaches and when you watch their programs. And I've been a fan of coaches and of leadership for a long time, a very long time. And I look at the coaches and I look at what we try to do and I look at the people that I follow. Then I look out in here and there's so many great people that we've gotten to know over a period of time, and Ned, Brad, Gary, there's so many people that are here. But there's a gentleman here that never, ever ceases to amaze me in 3 areas, okay? Number 1 is his energy. I mean, the energy of people, all right, a third his age, a fourth his age, all right? The commitment, a lot of people talk about commitment, all right? A lot of people talk about excellence. People try to have a commitment to excellence. A commitment to excellence is being the same every day, no matter what, all right? And never, ever, 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 all right, letting anything get in the way of your principles. We all try to get to that point. This gentleman does this at an extremely high level. He has a commitment to excellence in his business. And I've seen it for years now, and people before me have seen it, and I heard about it when I first got here, and we've lived it. But the care, the genuine care that he has is only, how would I say, probably multiplied by the people that care about him, and on a daily basis, and then if he goes through something health-wise. But it never ceases to amaze me when you get around people that inspire you no matter what. It doesn't have anything to do with the line of work. It has something to do with who they are. And I want to give a special, loud amount of recognition to my friend, to your friend, to one of the most inspiring, passionate human beings I've ever been around, Mr. Bob Shine. Please. I got a friend in Milwaukee that's probably 20 years younger, that same type of level of energy. And when I say that, it was one of the most amazing people I've ever met. Bob is in a class by himself, and I'm sure his friends, all right, the Fowles and everybody would agree with me on that. That's why it's such an honor to walk into the Fowl Shine atrium every day when we walk into that lobby. And I've been planning to do this, Bob, for the last couple of weeks, since all of a sudden there you are in Cook just stopping in. I've never seen a guy work harder. And when Ned says that he works 7 days a week, I don't have any doubt whatsoever. We got a group of coaches at Indiana the same way. I think one of the things that is really strong about Kevin with the way that he runs that program is, I'll never forget the first time they had this up in Henke Hall when they brought all the rings. They brought all the rings that they'd have of their coaching staff. And it was incredible. And I mean, absolutely incredible. And it's very easy to lose sight, all right, when you're building something like he is, and when you're working day in and day out to get it where it needs to be. He has won at the highest level. There is not a level of football that he has not won at. And it's really, truly, truly not a matter of if. It really is a matter of when. And when you listen to these guys, okay, and when you see how it's growing, and when you see the seriousness of them, and I had the maturity, or the privilege to have Jordan Fuchs and see the maturity of him for a few weeks at the end of the season and be a part of that. And when you see what Kevin is building with that staff, that is a staff full of teachers. It's a staff full of wisdom. It's a staff full of knowledge. It's a staff full of passion. But it's a staff full of winners. It absolutely is. And there's a lot of things that go into winning. All right? And part of winning is being able to get people, all right, uncomfortable, okay, when it gets that way, and find some comfort inside of it as they go along. That's what sports, that's what leadership is all about. And I put Kevin up there with any of them because he knows how to train a team. He knows how to train the minds. He's got a staff of people that carry the same level of integrity and discipline and care and knowledge. And really, it's just a matter of time. And it's going to be fun to watch them. It's going to be fun to watch them get the wins, all right, and do the things that they're capable of. Let's hear it for the football program again. Todd, we're all trying to get where he's at. We're trying to get to that national championship level. He watched it as a young person. He played in it as a player. He's been an assistant coach in it, and he's certainly been a head coach in it now. And there's one thing about being a champion. When you're around Todd, there's a couple things that separate in my mind. It never ceases to amaze me. All right, the integrity that he carries is carried with him every day inside of that program, and the confidence. And the integrity and the confidence mixed together is why we have a championship coach and a championship level program of Indiana soccer. And his players are the same way. And one thing that I've gained great appreciation over a period of time for his players, I don't know him personally, but my players do. And when Cody Zeller wasn't going to miss a soccer game, or when Jordan Hulls was going to make sure, was it okay that he would go to Alabama to the national championship game? All right, they're college kids, all right? They're not doing a lot of different things that they don't have to do. Those guys look forward to it. That says a lot about what they're doing. We've got a tremendous program, and I think Amy's going to do the same thing on the women's side. Terry, I have a lot of real compassion for, because when you walk into a situation, and she left a really good program, not just a good team, but a really good program. She built it up. And she left that to come to Indiana, and she walked into a situation that was not optimal at that point in time, to put it mildly. But what she's done is she's come in there principled. She's come in there with a staff of teachers, people that care, they work, all right? They work extremely hard. And what she's doing now, okay, with girls like Tyra and the rest of them, is she's getting them to understand what goes into winning. She's getting them to understand it's such a process, and it's got to be full focus, all right, one dimension. All right, we're going to be great teammates. We're going to be together. We're going to do the things that have to happen. And the reason I know that it's happening is because they're using our gym all the time. Okay? So there's girls over on their side, and the only problem I have with Tyra is the music she listens to is just horrid. All right? Maybe I've understood, it's just so loud. But I'm serious. I'm joking. I love that they're doing that. You know, we haven't had any guys. We've given this first session off, and they'll start again. Phase 2 of our off season will start this coming week. We had phase 1 in the spring, but that's what you want. And I say that because I'm saying that as not only a coworker. I'm saying that as a fan of leadership. I'm saying that as somebody that takes things from them, and it's inspiring. Because it doesn't matter what your position is. You've got to find ways. Motivation is so short-lived. It's got to be something that's inspirational. Chris Lemonis the other night, he's replacing a big-time winner, a big-time coach in Tracy. It wasn't easy to walk in with that team and do what he did. His last month of the season was phenomenal. We go to the game the other night. Vanderbilt, tremendous program, won the World Series a year ago, okay? I got 3 guys maybe that are going to be in the top 10, top 15 in the draft on Monday night. And with the exception of a couple plays, maybe a couple pitches, they're right there inside of that game. And it comes down to the last inning inside of that game. That's in his first year. All right? And the reason so much of this is happening is because Fred, all right, gives his coaches And it's one of the things it's great to watch because Fred's got tremendous leadership. He's got insight. He's got care. He's got knowledge. He's helpful. But he knows how to get people that care about winning and that are going to put the student athletes, the students, in the sense of what their academics are going to be like, in the sense of what it's supposed to look like. All right, given the ability to get the right staffs, the right support staffs. What we're doing facility-wise is unbelievable. It's only growing. And that doesn't happen by accident. So we got a lot of people at Indiana. And for all those that aren't here, the Ron Helmers, the Sherry Dunbars, Amy, Chris, Clint, Mike, all those people that aren't here, let's have another round of applause for everybody that's representing your university. Because Fred's leadership team with Scott and Anthony and Kevin and everybody that's a part of that, what Mary Jo does, it's just tremendous. It's a lot of fun to be around. Where we stand is we're excited to get going. We really are. We had a great spring. We had a great spring. We had an interesting year. We were picked 11th, we get a 10 seed. Okay, and I think at the end of the day, there wasn't one person led by me that's saying, okay, this is good enough. All right, but the difference is every day I get to go in there with these guys and we get to figure out how to make it better. And the biggest thing that we've got to have is we've got to have a commitment. And the commitment has got to be in a lot of different areas because we're close in a lot of ways. There's 3 levels that I judge where somebody is at, okay, in the sense of that work that it takes to be at a very high level. When they first come in sometimes or during the season, all right, there's the rationalization line. Okay, it's very easy to say, well, we're really practicing hard. Okay, and he just said that, Nate just said that about, my arm's a little bit sore. It's really, really easy to rationalize how busy you are, how tired you are, how hard you're working. Okay, and you just fit right in. Okay, you can just fit right into a group of people, all right, that maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't, but they don't win any championships. They don't win any championships. Hopefully they come in and they understand we've got to establish a routine. That's the second line. We're going to get a routine, okay? No matter what, okay? We practice 2.5. I'm going to shoot 50 more shots. I'm going to shoot 100 more free throws. I'm going to come in at X time. I'm going to come in and do this, okay? But a lot of times what I've found with a routine is it's only as good as a better distraction. So you've been doing that routine, okay? And like I'm going to come in at 6:30, and tomorrow night I'll be in at 7:30. Wait a minute. I can go do this. I can run here. I can go there. I can go watch that. I can go listen to this. Okay, and it's really easy. I'll get it later. I'll get it later. That's not how you win championships either. The way you win championships, the way you become Victor Oladipo, the way you become Cody Zeller, the way you become some of the guys that we had at Marquette, is you have a commitment. And that commitment is no matter what, you're going to be at an extremely high level. It doesn't matter how hard you practiced. Okay, it doesn't matter how much the coach was on you. It doesn't matter how much success you just had. It doesn't matter how much failure you just had. You have got to get better that day. You've got to get better. All right, and the reason it's such a big deal to me is this week, right now, Christian Watford is back. All right, Will Sheehy is back. And I know you can't recognize him with that Flock of Seagulls haircut, but Derek Elston is back. Google Flock of Seagulls and tell me I'm not right. Looks like the lead singer from Flock of Seagulls. Jordan Hulls gets back tomorrow, a couple weeks before his wedding. Those were guys that learned. Those were guys that paved the way inside of our program. The Christian Watfords, the Jordan Hulls, the Derek Elstons, those guys took the chance when the roof had caved in, right? And they built it up. All right, they built it up. Jordan, Victor, Cody, Christian, 4,000-point scorers on one team, And they paved the way. And when we get out there and we're working out today and we're working out yesterday and it'll be that way tomorrow, and it's the same thing. Those guys are so committed. That's what it looks like. That's what these two have got to continue to strive for in every area. And that commitment is to the academics. That commitment is to your social life. That commitment is to protecting your teammates and not letting them make the mistakes that they could make. All right, that means having the courage to step up and say, you're not going there. You're not doing that. You're not doing this. All right, and pulling them in. That commitment is getting that extra work at night. That commitment is a couple times on the weekend when there's nothing required. Everybody's got 20 hours, okay? Everybody's got an off season, all right? Everybody's got 365 days. Everybody's got 24 hours. What is your commitment to how important it is to you? And when a coach has got to drive that, you don't have a champion on that either. You've got to continue to build it day by day. That's where we're at. We're right in the middle of going from routine to commitment. And if we get that commitment to toughness, all right, that commitment to the speed that we're going to need to play with, that commitment to winning the games in the trenches, just like Kevin's got to win them. We weren't physical enough inside last year. First off, we weren't big enough. This is our 5-man. Go take a look at the other 5 men in the league, okay? But this dude fought. He battled with them, okay? All right, he battled with them. And we'll bring him up in a second and ask him some questions, but that's what it's got to become for any of us, for all 24 sports. All right, for every one of us. How do we keep building that commitment? We want to take our team this year, we want to play even faster, not just because the shot clock went to 30 seconds. We got to figure out how we're going to get more possessions inside of the 30-second shot clock. We got to figure out how we're going to get more offensive rebounds. We've got to figure out how we're going to get better shot challenges. We got to figure out how our transition is going to be even faster. We got to figure out how we're going to get more over-the-top baskets. All right, we've got to figure out how we're going to create more turnovers in the backcourt. We've got to make sure that we have guys that are building on their athleticism, not just where they get a little bit better individually, but they can bring that to the court. We weren't as good as we needed to be defensively last year. The year before, we led the league in three-point shooting defense. Last year, we weren't as good. We didn't have as much of a lane game. We weren't as good at protecting the rim. We weren't as good at scoring at the rim. We've got to be better at that. That's a huge part of the focus. That's a huge part of the phase 1 focus in the spring. And we want to be better at continuing to not only move the ball, but even being even better at moving without the ball. It's because we're trying to get guys to understand constantly. We got a lot of guys who can do something with the ball, okay? But the best teams, you go back to Victor Oladipo, you go back to Will Sheehy, those guys were unbelievably good at moving without the basketball. Jordan Hulls was very good at moving without the basketball. Sometimes it's a screen. Sometimes it's a double screen. Sometimes it's setting the screen and cutting. Sometimes it's reading how you're being played. The key concept is that you want the ball to move and you want to find different ways to score. You want to find different ways to get open. Well, the commitment to unselfishness that we've got to have, the commitment to ball movement that we've got to have, the commitment to body movement that we've got to have, the commitment to running that we have to have. Not run 3 or 4 times and then take a couple where we don't go as hard. Running every time. And fortunately, okay, or hopefully I should say at this point, we're going to build ourselves to the point where we have enough consistent depth, all right, enough, not bodies, but people that we can get too deep, that we have unique competition. All right, I'm not talking about returning starters. I'm not talking about returning points. All right, I want to see who's going to lead us in 50-50 balls. I want to see who's going to lead us in floor burns, because basically that's how Indiana was built, right? Indiana was built on a toughness level, and we were number 1 in the country for 11, 12 weeks. We had a toughness level. We've got to continue to get back to that, because that's what it's going to take. All the preseason stuff and all that, it's hard for me to look at it because I don't see that team. And we had a great spring. I see a team that's got to get a lot better. I see a team with some potential. I see a team with 3 guys that looked at the NBA draft, okay, and looked at it hard, but they never wavered in the classroom. Yogi Ferrell, all right, took 20 credit hours this past semester. 20 credit hours. Okay, he didn't just skate by. He had a real nice GPA, okay? But my point is, when you get that kind of focus academically, remember, we're a place that's had 6 guys graduate in 3 years. We've had 4 guys get masters in 4 years. We've got 4 guys, including him, on schedule to graduate in 3 years. That's not happening everywhere else. Okay, all at the meanwhile having about a 3.0 team GPA over 7 years. All right, that's all part of it too. That's part of that commitment. When we get back to school next week, all right, we'll start talking about what we got to do as a team, but it'll be much after we start talking about the next step we got to take academically and how we've got to be as a unit, all right, and not just the microscope that we're under, but the microscope that we put ourselves under, because we want to make sure that we're holding ourselves to a standard that we can reach. And the expectation level becomes, okay, not the external, all right, that's good to talk about, but the internal. The internal being, what's our fundamental mindset going to be like? What's our detail mindset going to be like? How much more athletic can we get? They'll meet our new strength coach, okay, and our new strength staff, all right? What can we do? What's our determination level going to be like when we're going through hard days? Okay, how much better can we get at our weaknesses? All right, how concerned are we because, well, I've got to get better at this, I've got to get better at that, but I can already do this, So I'll just work on this. No, we got to work at it all. Now, when we have those kind of expectations, then we're going to have a chance to make a jump. But right now, we're in that process. We've got to learn how to be tougher. We've got to learn how to be more physical. We've got to get stronger. All right? Right now, the offseason is really built on building the strengths, okay? Because your physical strength leads to your physical toughness. Just like mental toughness. Well, you don't have mental toughness without mental strength. Every day that we work, okay, we've got to do something that's going to make us mentally stronger. Because the mental toughness will come out when we're playing Purdue and we're playing Michigan State and we're playing at Duke in early December. We're going, it'd be nice for all of you on the beach in Maui, okay? But that gym, it's just going to be nice. And who's going to Maui? I know a couple people in the back. Who's going to watch the games in Maui? Who wants to go to Maui? See Fred Glass. I think he might have some extra tickets. All right? But that gym, it's hot. All right? It's packed. It's small. All right? And you've got to go in there. You've got to have a mindset of whatever it takes to win those games when you're dealing with UCLA and Kansas and St. John's and everybody that's there. But that's what we're excited about. That's what we're excited to build. All right? The young guys like Thomas Bryant had a great season, great spring. He comes in with speed. He comes in with athleticism. All right? He comes in with much improvement that he made from the start of the year to the end of the year. He comes in with a guy that I think is going to be one of the great teammates we're going to have on our team. Is he going to have to learn a lot? Absolutely. It's up to these guys to teach him. All right? Ajuna and Jawan, those two, they come in with versatility. They come in with length. All right, they come in with rebounds. All right, rebounds transfer as you come into it. They come in with a desire to get better, and that's just the young guys there. Every guy on our team knows what they've got to do to get better, whether it be Troy, all right, with his ball handling, with his core, with his ability to rebound consistently, with his defense, with his shooting, whether it's Colin with his quickness, okay, whether it's Ryan well, it's right there. It's what I get every day in practice. Doesn't say a word. All right? With his talk and his leadership, no, he's great. He's absolutely great. He's absolutely great. But Ryan's leadership, Yogi being as complete a guard as he can be, okay, and trying to be Defensive Player of the Year more than anything else. James Blackman playing with continued speed, all right, more aggressiveness, all right, the ability to create more separation with the ball, the ability to score with either hand at the basket, okay, even a higher shooting percentage. Rob Johnson being much faster with the basketball, okay, and working on, and I say all that, those guys are working, and they've been working like crazy. Emmett Holt being more versatile, okay, Nick Zeisloff being able to do more in the sense of getting to the foul line. You got a guy who can shoot 95% from the foul line. We probably got to figure out 4 more ways to get him fouled, right? But he likes that three-point shot, okay, and he's pretty good at it, but we got to find more ways to get him to the basket, and that list goes on and on. But we're excited about it. We're excited about the schedule. We're excited about the opportunity, okay? And they got to take advantage of the opportunity because each opportunity knocks one time, and you've got to take advantage of it. And every day, they've got that. But because of people like you giving us Cook Hall, because of people like you giving us what we have facilities-wise, because of people like you giving what we have passion-wise, all right, because of the inspiration that I get from my fellow coaches and from people in this room like Bob Shine, it's absolutely great to be a part of it. It's absolutely great. And we want to continue to build on it. We will. Go IU.